here.
Huh?
I think it's starting over here more.
What's that?
Like, does...
Oh yeah,
over
yeah,
here,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like-
That's fine. It's fine. Okay, so we got the plastic model in plaster. Kind of got a leak in our forms, but not bad. We're gonna let that set up for about an hour, and then we're gonna throw it in the fireplace. Okay, so I've had this part that we invested in plaster sitting on my fireplace now for a good 4 or 5 hours. We've invested it or cast it into here probably about, what, 11 o'clock, and it's been sitting on here getting warm. This thing is actually pretty warm to the touch already because it's sitting directly on the fireplace, and the fireplace is going. See? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put this directly into the fire. I should probably add some more wood into there before I do it. I'll put this right on top of the wood, so the wood will have to, as the wood and stuff heats up, it'll kind of insulate this. So it'll take a little bit for it to. Be very careful. Here we go. Okay, it's in, and now we're just gonna let it do its thing. We're gonna let it just start baking.
In there?
No, because it's really hot.
Yeah, I just saw
That whitish, charcoaly looking brick in there, that's a dolphin.
Yeah.
Fire is good.
I helped make it.
Fire. 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 Well, I had a little bit of a mishap when I was taking it out of the fireplace. I had my welding gloves on, but it was a little bit too hot, and I accidentally dropped it and broke it. As you can see, even though it looks like there was some cracking going on in the mold, and granted that might have been just some small flashing or so, or that could have happened when I dropped it too, but either way, it looks like the mold was actually going to turn out. You can see the dolphin fin there. See, going back, you can see the dorsal fin. What I thought was really unique was here, how in the beak it actually filled in the beak area, and you can see how it, or the nose and the mouth, because the mouth is open on this particular sculpture. So, some interesting stuff. We'll have to make another mold though. Hi, how's it going? So as you can see, the parts aren't turning out. Well, not the parts. The parts are turning out great, that I'm printing anyways. What's not turning out are my molds. So I went to mold the dolphin, and through the pictures you'll see that it completely failed. Epic fail. There's two things that I think I did wrong. One, I think I made my plaster of Paris too wet. I don't think I got my ratios right of water and plaster of Paris, because the first thing I noticed was my sand was falling right to the bottom of the mold. The second thing is that I've learned is that you have to have a very precise heating process, at least more precise than what I was doing. So you need to bake your mold. You need to bake the mold for 4 hours, slowly ramping your temps up to like 500 degrees or so, or 400 degrees, and you need to hold it there for like an hour. And then you need to take and you need to put it in like a kiln, and then you want to ramp that up to about around that 1200 degree range, slowly over time. And then take it out of the kiln, and as soon as you take it out of the kiln, pretty much you want to pour at that point. as soon as you take it out of the kiln, as soon as it's exposed to the atmospheric temperature or the ambient temperature, the plaster of Paris is going to start to absorb that moisture again. It's going to start pulling the moisture out of the air and start taking it back into the mold. So you want to pour that right away. Also, it prevents the aluminum from turning into a solid because of it's cold and you're burning it anyways. So I found another method that another guy's using. It's SV Seeker, and this guy's building a boat in his backyard. He's built a submarine. Does a lot of metal casting because he doesn't want to. Well, he can't afford to go out and buy the parts that he needs, so he makes a lot of his own parts, and he does a lot of casting because casting is just it's a method that there's a lot of parts you just can't machine, so he casts them to make them. And he has another method that he uses, which is sodium silicate sand. And the sodium silicate sand, basically you mix in the sodium and you mix that with your silicate sand, and then you add carbon dioxide to it, which hardens it and turns it into a brick. It reacts with the sodium. At which point, once it's a brick, you know, you can take your parts out, pour your metal in, and you got a part. I think I could do the same process, but baking the mold, allowing it to turn hard and burning out the part at the same time. So something different. I don't know if it's going to work. Stay tuned. We'll find out what happens.